my fault. It's not that I don't know how to play the thing, it's just that the thing doesn't play correctly, you know? I mean, it's not my fault. Disclaimer, my trumpet's broken. Welcome to A Day of Gladness with Dr. Bass. I like to flip scripts on my channel, that's why I'm Dr. Bass Atwood's a reverse psychologist. I'm flipping the script for you in case you weren't aware that everything's been inverted, perverted, subverted, and reworded. But I'm here to flip it back so you can read it how it's supposed to be, see the reality of life. So on a day of Saturday, I've never seen a Saturday. Oh, Saturdays. I've never seen Saturdays. I've never seen such a Saturday. It's the saddest day. Now, fuck that shit. We're having a glad day today. It's Gladys Day. We're having a gladder day. What's up, Phil? Nice. So I'm flipping the script from sadness to gladness. We don't need no Saturdays. It's not sad today. It's glad today. I'm glad today is not sad. I'm glad today is not Saturday. It's Gladder Day. The Church of Gladder Day Saints. Are you glad today? It's Gladder Day. Are you glad that it's Gladder Day? It's a day of gladness. We should at least, attribute one day of the week to gladness instead of Saturn. What does Saturn have to do with anything? Well, it has a lot to do with a lot of things, I guess. Other than just being a light in the sky. I mean, apparently some people think it's pretty fucking important. But why? What gives them that insight? I mean, I would just think, it's just a star. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I wouldn't even know that it's Saturn. I would just think that it's a fucking star with the cool ring around it. If I had the right gear to be able to see it and all that, of course. Which I have. I haven't owned the gear myself, but, well, now I do. I haven't seen Saturn through our P1000, no, I don't think. Now that I think about it. But I've seen it through a telescope before, and it's pretty fucking cool. I mean, it's trippy. It looks more like an electrical phenomenon, once you have the software fill in all the planetary, texture, then it looks more like a place you could fly a spaceship to and film it, rotating in all its heliocentric glory, and then accidentally film it a second later without it rotating, but with the storms rotating instead. No, that was Jupiter, actually. Never mind, I got that one confused. Well, they're both dumb fucking space stories. The rings of Saturn. They try to tell you the composition of things that they have no way of knowing. They're trying to tell you with confidence, with speaking to you in like a factual manner, where they're educating you about something. It rains diamonds on Uranus. Fuck, hell it does, man. I'd be rich if it did. You guys are always lying, man. Every time I try to watch NASA or some space garbage, it always ends up talking about my anus. I mean, it's every time. It always ends there, it's like, talking about all this interesting stuff for a while, but eventually they're going to mention my anus. Ever happen to you? It's always about my anus. And they'll lie. They'll be like, oh, there's diamonds in your anus. No, there isn't. That's kind of rude. Talk about fucking diamond in the rough, huh? Talk about a diamond in the rough. Looks like plasma. It's probably what it is. Some type of plasma energy type phenomena taking place. I mean, it seems more likely that what's going on up there has a lot more to do with electromagnetic, toroidal, movement, in the sense of it's not gravity, this fictitious force that is explained in the complete opposite manner that it acts. Not that. No, it has more to do with electromagnetic frequencies and just magnetism, because electricity is magnetism. Magnetism is electricity. Electricity is magnetism. It's like it's all one ball of wax, ball of wax. Because all you got to do is take a piece of copper, copper wire like a snake, cable, a snake. Wrap that snake, that cable right around that there magnet, that pole, you know, the magnetic pole. That magnetic pole, right? Wrap that copper snake around that magnetic pole, that snake around that pole. Wrap that snake around that pole, and you get yourself electricity. Starts doing things, lighting light bulbs up and shit. Snakes on a pole, man. It's currency. It's you know, like the dollar sign. It's a snake on a pole. Currency, man. It's all about the currency, the electrical circuitry, the circuit that we're living within. Has a lot more to do with electricity than it does to do with a heliocentric solar system that's flying through a galaxy, that's flying through a universe. All that stuff is just story time for grown-ups. I mean, it really is, because I mean, all attempts at showing us the vast expanse of space via whatever kind of crafts they claim to put up there, it's all failed drastically, and it's not aging well either. I would think that people would come around by now, because there's so much blatantly fraudulent space presentations that it's just embarrassing. I'd have to say that man's exploration of space is definitely one of the most embarrassing achievements of mankind. Probably will go down in history as such if there's any justice in the world today. Story time for grown-ups. And you know, the more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It almost appears to be low budget, but $80 million a day, it's an awful lot to pay to get such a cheesy presentation up on their International Space Station. They do those spacewalks. I think they're in a swimming pool on Earth when I see those bubbles in space, bubbles in space, and I see the duper's look of delight on their face. They do the science of deception, oh for shame. They got a lot of hairspray, they gotta use a lot of hairspray to want to make the hair look that way. They do the science of somersaults, somersault science. And the more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It almost appears to be low budget, but $80 million a day, you think you have a lot more to say, but it's about as vague as can be. We're just doing science, can't you see? They talk a lot of science, but they got nothing to show. Just a drop of water floating in the air, or like some fancy plastic coffee cup that doesn't quite work. They got a lot of layering problems. I'm running out of lyrics here. Sorry. Got some issues with their augmented reality. Duh, we destroyed the technology, duh. We'll fucking build it back, man. I don't care if it's painful. Isn't that what you guys do? What the fuck are you doing? It's been how long now? Build the shit back. I mean, you're just gonna sit there with your thumb up your ass and be like, oh, I thought it would go, but we fucking destroyed it. You know, you sound like a fucking 3-year-old, or worse. I don't want to insult 3-year-olds. I think they'd logically be able to deduce that that's just not a sufficient answer. It's not true. I mean, it's like, for one thing, or if it is true, then it's highly suspicious. Because they didn't finish the Apollo program. There was still, I think there was still a couple more missions left to do, but they, it's like they went 6 times. They went to the moon 6 times, you know, 7 times, but one of the times they didn't land because there was an issue. It was the Apollo 13 mission, of course, unlucky 13. But the thing is, they went once and people are like, holy fuck. They went twice and people are like, no shit. They went 3 times and people are like, damn. They went 4 times and people are like, whoa, what the hell? They went 5 times and people are like, yep. They went 6 times and people are like, yeah, I'm kind of busy right now. I got to watch a game. So, they just decided to stop the program. And that being said, there was still, see, each mission to the moon involved a Saturn V rocket, a LIM module, an orbiter module, and the re-entry module with the parachutes, while they're flying 25,000 miles per hour, and these parachutes come out and they don't shred into pieces because of NASA engineering. It's just amazing. Yeah, so each mission involved had one of all those things that I just listed off. Each mission. So they had, because you understand, it's like they destroy all that shit on the way there and back. It's like the Saturn V, it, you know, burns up its payload and drops its stages and fucking whatever. And then it's like the orbiter and the lunar module. They go all the way to the moon. They release the lunar module down, and then they fucking come back up and meet the orbiter, and then the whole kit and caboodle comes back to the Earth, right? And then I'm under the impression they have to jettison all the other shit, and they just get in their little capsule that they end up getting pulled out of the big drink with. It's like, because that little capsule they pull them out of the big drink with. It's not. And I mean, it's not the orbiter and lunar module. It's just some little teeny capsule. So it's like a third, whatever. So the thing is, the orbiter and lunar module obviously burn up in the atmosphere, according to the story. I mean, I haven't even looked into it to that extent, but I imagine that's what happened, because when they pull them out of the water, they're just in this little teeny pod. That's all they had left from their huge rocket and all the other shit that they had launched. It's all that was left at the end was this little pod that they pulled them out of the water with. I'm not saying that any of it's true. I'm just saying that the story goes like this, and so basically all the technology that got them to the moon and back was destroyed by other than this little pod they pull them out of the water with, and then they do it again. They have all that stuff again, and again, they made however many, I think 20 of them, but they only landed on the moon 6 times. But I don't know. But the thing is, there was at least 2 complete missions that were untouched that they never got around to doing because people lost interest, and they just you can only hoax people so many times. And so they had 2 complete missions that were at least 2, I think, maybe more. I forget. But the thing is, they hadn't used all the Apollo program. There was all this unused equipment left. There was like, each mission to the moon cost, I don't know how much, but all that, I'm just saying, if it's true, which it isn't, but I mean, it's all that stuff that they had for those missions. According to their story, they had at least 2 to the moon and back, like all the stuff they needed to do that, And so you want to tell me that they destroyed all that unused equipment that was like, apparently it worked fine, they went there and back 6 times. So it's like, without any injuries or no, it worked great. So you're going to it's going to destroy, like, why would you go destroy that after building it? You build all this fucking, then you're just going to go destroy all this unused equipment that was like, that worked perfectly fine, it was like a successful operation. I mean, I'm just according to their story, I'm saying. And so it's like, so now you want me to believe that you destroyed all this unused, like, brilliant, like, genius engineering feat of, sheer, like, the best achievement of mankind. You're going to tell me you destroyed all this unused equipment that would have worked perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It had never been used. I mean, you don't think that would have been kind of like cool, like, or maybe necessary, or like required, like, protocol to hang on to that stuff and keep it in good condition, and keep it, upkeep it to where it's like still usable later in the future, just so you could go back, and so that the generations to come could see all the stuff that was involved, and just so we could all have the technology if we wanted to go back. You don't think that you would want to hang on to some of that unused equipment, that all this unused Apollo hardware and fucking space travel gear that you need. I mean, it becomes a really difficult story to believe when you really think about it. All you have to do is think about it. Because why in hell would you destroy unused equipment that cost tons of money to make and that worked like was worked incredible. It's like it's a feat. Like whatever, you went to the moon and back. I mean, why wouldn't you hang on to all that equipment that you had left that hadn't been used? I mean, you couldn't, like, the only reason you could make an argument to do something like that is like, well, like, were you just bitter or something? You just wanted to like stick it to the people that lost interest in your program, or I mean, what was the reason for destroying it? I want to know what the logic behind that is, because I can't think of any logical explanation as to why you would have done that. I mean, there is no lot. We're talking about science right now. That's what this is supposed to be, even though all astronauts are military, so therefore they're sworn to secrecy, which is not how you conduct science. In fact, if you're conducting science and there's some part of the equation that has any connection to an entity that's sworn to secrecy, well, it pretty much just it renders the whole thing fraudulent, or just potentially, fraudulent, because you don't know. There's a variable there that could be, and if that variable goes by the name government, which means mind control, well, then you have to factor all that in. You're doing science, and there's like some element of this science here that's being provided by an entity known as mind control, and they're sworn to secrecy. You factor that into your science, and you could have all this fancy science going, right? All these equations and all this stuff that's all looking all great, and then at the end of that whole huge long equation and list of legit science, you have to factor in this last factor, this last variable, which is mind control and sworn to secrecy. You have to factor that in. Well, it pretty much negates everything that came before it. Like, if you're thinking critically, thinking critically isn't objective. Thinking objectively is more like, just show me what you got. Just, I'm ready for anything. Let me see it. But thinking critically is more like, show me what kind of bullshit you cooked up this time. Because like when you're thinking critically about somebody, you're not thinking like, I could either take it or leave it, or I don't like them, I don't love them, I don't hate them, I don't have any emotions towards them. No, thinking critically about them is thinking like, this person might be full of shit. I'm looking at you with a critical eye. I'm thinking that you might be trying to get over on me. Thinking critically is an objective, in my opinion. People might make the argument that I'm wrong about that, but at any rate, I would like to say that you need to look at NASA with the critical eye, insofar as like, is this bullshit? You got to go into it like that, because if you go into it like, this is amazing, then you're just gonna suck it up with all the oohs and ahs that they require. Ooh, ah, oh. Don't ask any questions. Suspension of disbelief is absolutely required, because if you start picking apart their story, you realize it falls apart right quick. Just the spacesuit alone is just a sheer feat of... I mean, I would think if you invented some kind of technology like that, where it's a pressurized suit that keep you safe in a near vacuum, where temperatures range from negative 240 Fahrenheit to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like from... I mean, like, water boils at like half that, and then like water freezes at like, 32 degrees. And so it's like we're 240 degrees negative and 240 degrees positive. Like, to keep you safe in an environment that ranges from those temperatures and in a near vacuum. I mean, it's not negative pressure, but what I'm saying is, like, a spacesuit, it's going to have to keep pressurized, and you're breathing the air that's in there, the oxygen that they're feeding into it. And when you breathe out, you don't breathe out oxygen, you breathe out carbon dioxide, or I guess, yeah, you breathe out, yeah, CO2 or whatever. And so you're going to have an exhaust, and you're going to have to be constantly feeding in oxygen and constantly releasing the exhaust from what you breathe out. So there has to be an opening to this near vacuum. There has to be some kind of fancy O-ring, or you know what I mean, like some real good engineering going on there, because it's gonna the near vacuum, if it has access to what's inside your spacesuit, it's gonna pull it out. So that little opening where the exhaust is gonna have to be released. that's a problem right there. You're going to have I mean, I don't know the engineering behind that. I'm sure there's some explanation, but like, but it's just funny that I don't know that. I would think you'd want to show off that kind of achievement where you've invented this pressurized spacesuit that can operate in like fucking temperatures of such extremes that like, you know, we could be using those to go explore inside volcanoes and I'm just kidding. I mean, it's not true is all I'm saying. It's like there's no way they could have tested that suit in an environment that was going to be similar to what they were supposedly going to use them in. So they were testing them for the first time on the moon in real time on live TV. Does that sound like something that people would do? No. Nobody's that crazy. To leave behind your atmosphere, go hundreds of thousands of miles away from your precious atmosphere for 6 days and be goofing off on the moon, you know, and then like blast off the moon. I mean, leaving the Earth was a massive spectacle, you know, the fucking Saturn V, you know, it's like, it was a massive spectacle. Leaving the moon was like, left something to be desired, that's for sure. It's all, it looked like a crane raised them up off the moon. It's like, it looked pretty shoddy, dude. I know they want to explain that away with, well, there's just so much less atmosphere there, so they didn't require that much. They just were like, poof, you know. But all the same, it really, if you read the story nowadays, I mean, maybe back then people were just, you know, like, wow, technology is getting so advanced. But like nowadays, if you look at it and it's like, well, they didn't have any computers back then and it's just all analog shit and an orbiter and the limb that goes down and back up and then they, you know, rockets in space, you know, like how do they figure out how to propel themselves through an environment where there's nothing to push off? Yeah, they have some fucking shoddy explanations for how they did that, but it's really not feasible. I mean, they explain it away by saying it's a frictionless environment, so it doesn't take much of a boost to get going. 25,000 miles per hour, which is what they say they traveled at to get there and back. And so when you hit Earth coming back, moving at 25,000 miles per hour, I think they went into orbit first before they, you know, proceeded to enter into the atmosphere with their fancy dancy heat shield that protected them from being incinerated like everything else does apparently. But the fancy heat shields don't get incinerated. Everything else does, according to them. So they're coming in, they're going so fast they would have incinerated if it wasn't for the fucking heat shield. And then they release parachutes when they're going. Like, I don't know about like most parachutes that we use here today on Earth, but I don't think that you'd be able to do much with 4 parachutes traveling at thousands of miles per hour. I think your parachutes would shred to smithereens the second they came out of that fucking thing. Wouldn't do nothing to slow you down. So they must have put the brakes on somehow before releasing the parachutes. They would have come careening into the Earth in a matter of minutes. Pow! Boom! Or a big splash or whatever. The ocean's a big place, mind you, and they landed in the ocean. You know, when you're coming back from the moon, I mean, the ocean, you know, you're probably going to land in the ocean because it's mostly water here on Earth, but it's a big fucking place. The pod that they came back in is a little teeny pod, you know. But NASA is so good, they were right there to you know, to receive them. They didn't have to wonder where they landed. They didn't have any problems locating them. They were right there, ready to go, just ready to put on a show. The astronauts were just so happy to be back home. They were happy when they were on the moon, too. They never showed a sign of nervousness or any kind of discomfort whatsoever. They were just happy-go-lucky the whole fucking time, just loving life. And I don't think I would have been like that myself. I would have been a little bit nervous on the moon. I would have been like, okay, we're here, but like, we got to go. I'm not trying to stay here any longer. You know, on the phone with Nixon. Nixon's just rattling off all this, like, you know, flowery language, like, you have saved, you know, you have brought our tears to our eyes, America the brave. And, you know, it's like, wrap it up, dude. I'm on the moon, and there's only so much air, you know, like, we got to get the fuck out of here, dude. But they just sat there and listened to him run his mouth, you know. 20 minutes later, like, okay, well, we're going to go hit some golf balls and gather some moon dust and rocks and shit and sing a few songs and do a dance and run and jump and stick a flag in the ground, drive a little dune buggy around, hit some golf balls, and come on home. Yeehaw! They get home, you know, and then they get up in front of the press, and now they're nervous. Now they're stressed. Now they don't look so happy-go-lucky anymore. It's like the complete opposite of what you would expect. I would expect them to look the way they looked when they got back in front of the press. I would have expected that demeanor on the moon. I would have been like, that would have made more sense. They're like nervous, scared. They don't want to be where they're not happy where they're at. They want to leave. They're just like nervous, uncomfortable, basically just not happy. Because it's scary. That would have made more sense if they had acted like that on the moon versus when they got back from the moon safely. They're all happy-go-lucky on the moon. You would have thought they'd have been all happy-go-lucky when they got back safely and scared on the moon. But no, it's the other way around. They were scared when they got back, and they were happy-go-lucky on the moon. So it's just some bass-backwards shit. Usually when things are bass-backwards, you're being hoaxed. Because if it's being told in reverse, it's a story that's been flipped on its ear. Is anybody even listening to me? Hey, what's up, Justina? Nice to see you, FE Nation. Right on, you guys. I'm babbling about shit. You know what I do. I'm just an energizer bass. Keeps going, keeps going. There's very few people that listen. That's the only problem. I posted a song earlier. I don't know if anyone's going to hear it, but it's called I Don't Make Waves, I Ride Them. And I think it's a good song. I think it's actually a really good song. It's growing on me a lot. Like, I just pulled it out of my ass like many years ago. And I was like, I can't believe nobody's written this song yet. And, I just kind of let it sit there and, sort of gestate or whatever the word is for many years. I mean, I wrote that song back in, like, when I was living in Finland. That was like 2007-ish. So that was a long time. It was almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago. And then I just kind of recently pulled it back out again, maybe the past couple of years, and fucking with it. I had forgotten all about it, really. But it pops up every so often throughout the years, but I just kind of never really did much with it. But now this is the most I've done with this song, what I posted earlier in it. I think it's a winner. I think it's another unknown hit song of Bass's that will never be heard. Actually, I should say that it's going to be heard by everybody. I should manifest that. Everybody's going to hear my song because it's so good and they're going to like it. They're going to be like, how come nobody wrote this song before this? Where were we on that one? I just want to ride them. I just get inside them and let them guide me in. I don't make waves, I ride them. How does it go? I don't make waves, I ride them. I get inside them and let them guide me in. I don't know where these waves begin, but I know where they will end. Oh, I just want to ride them. I just get inside them and let them guide me in. It can take a toll on your soul when you got nowhere to go and nothing fun left to do. I know that there is only so far you can go before the waves are gonna catch up with you. Out there on that horizon, I can see the waves coming in. Get inside the pipeline, it's a straight line every time. I don't make waves, I ride them. I get inside them and let them guide me in. I don't know where these waves begin, but I know where they will end. I just wanna ride them, I just get inside them and let them guide me in. Get inside the pipeline, it's a straight line. Just like that horizon, I can see those waves coming in. Oh yeah, it can take a toll on your soul. You got nowhere to go, nothing fun left to do. Oh, only so far that you can go before the waves catch up with you. Out there on that horizon, I can see the waves coming in. I get inside that pipeline. That's not how it goes. Get inside the pipeline, it's a straight line every time. way that God has designed this place. It's a straight horizon. The horizon's rising to eye level. It's rising to your eye level. Meditate on that one for a minute. The horizon should be dropping away from you if you climb in elevation, but no, it just stays right there at eye level all the way up and back again. Funny how this globe Earth we live on presents itself like a flat realm. Interesting how that is. Why can't we just accept it as being how it presents itself? Well, we can, in fact, because it turns out that the globe Earth and its alleged curvature and alleged spin, it's entirely irrelevant information that nobody applies to their life ever, anywhere. And ask yourself, why do I never have to worry about the curvature of Earth or the spin or have to factor that in, even if I'm flying a jet airplane full of hundreds of people and I'm like gonna land this plane on the supposed spinning, curving Earth? No, you never have to worry about any of that shit at all. And so it's otherwise just a moot point, basically, because it's nothing that anybody's ever going to have to worry about at all. And in fact, it's pretty impossible to measure any of those things in any meaningful way whatsoever. You can't measure curvature, you can't measure motion. It's not happening. I'm talking spin, you know. If we want to get into the nitty-gritty details, well, it gets even more messy, but like basically there's no way to measure these things that the globe alleges. Um, so is that really science? I mean, I think there's a lot of assumptions going on here. You can see them trying to like explain away like perspective as being like the result of Earth curvature. When it's like, well, now, you know, with today's technology, we can zoom into a great distance, whereas like we couldn't do that before, so we didn't really have the means. I mean, there's always been telescopes, you know, but like, you know, the boat disappearing over the, you know, bottom up, you know, over the curve of the Earth. I never, it's funny, I never even knew about that alleged globe evidence until I became a flat earther. I never even thought about that or heard about that before. It's so funny. That's everybody's go-to, like, you know, flat earth debunk. And it's like, no, have you fucking paid any attention? The boat disappears, you know, it's supposedly going over the curve, you know, it's no longer visible. But you just zoom in on it, and now it's the whole thing is visible again. So what? Does your camera make the Earth rotate backwards, or like what's going on here? I mean, is it that easy to debunk your fucking claim? Yes, it is. It turns out, because if we didn't have that camera, they would have just stuck with their story, like, oh, it's disappeared over the curve. Well, I guess you're right. Now all of a sudden you got a camera, and it's like, oh, well, it looks like it didn't do that. Oh, well. It didn't get far enough, or I don't know. Never mind. Forget what I said, but still, no, don't forget it, but just change it. Or like, we get accused of moving the goalposts, you know. And it's true, we do, because like we all thought there wasn't a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, or a lot of us still do. But like the thing is, it's kind of like space, you know. It's like this thing that very few people ever get to see. So, you know, it becomes more of like a myth, which isn't science. You would think all the scientific establishments in Antarctica that have existed there for some time now, that have been videotaping the summer season constantly, would have caught at least one 24-hour sun video on their records, their database that they have all these videos of that are deceptive, because if you look at them, they're time lapse. You see it's just all sunshine, you know, and it just keeps going. And it's like, wow, that's a 24-hour sun video. No. And fucking the irony is, Jaronism was the guy that showed us this, that like if you actually sit and you pick up, you look at the time, you know, as it's showing you this 24-hour sun time lapse, you see that they cut out 6 to 8 hours out of every day. You wouldn't know that unless you sat and looked at the time that's cut out, you know, because it's time lapse. It just skips over. You wouldn't notice it otherwise. But if you actually sit and look at the time of it all, you can see there's 6 to 8 hours cut out every day. Every day. There's not one 24-hour sun video on any of the scientific establishments down there. They don't have any of that supposed 24-hour sun evidence to provide, you know. So it's basically just being provided by random YouTubers and Globers with an agenda, you know. I mean, granted, like wits it, gets it, still a flat earther, I guess, and he didn't post any of his own footage, though. See, we're in the same situation as we were before. The only footage that exists of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica is by random people that are like, they're all globers with like an agenda. They have like a financial incentive to keep the story going. I mean, whether or not maybe they're right, maybe there really is one down there, but I'm just saying it's like, it's interesting. I mean, it kind of does make sense that the flat earthers wouldn't post it if it affects their story negatively. It's kind of just like psychology here. But all the same, like, why hasn't the government, why hasn't like there been any kind of official scientific, you know, why haven't they produced that evidence? I mean, what what the hell? Like, that's why is it up to Duffy, this convicted fraud, to go down there and do this? I mean, we have to trust a convicted fraud? Nah, I don't choose to do that. I mean, whatever. He might be right. I mean, I don't know. How would I know? It's just like, trust me, bro. What I think is interesting about all that is that, if you take into account the fact that there's 17 and a half hours of visible sun in the sky at the tip of South America, where there's cities and people. I mean, I've talked to flat earthers that live down there. They'll vouch for that. And so that's a lot of sunshine in the sky. It's like, what I'm saying is, you go further south from there, the days get even longer. And if you go north from there, the days get shorter. And it's like there's summertime down there. The days get longer the further south you go. And we do know for a fact that in this, the tip of South America, there's like 17 and a half hours of daylight with the sun in the sky. And there's still further south to go from there, so the days get longer, if you catch my drift here. It's really not that crazy to think that perhaps there is a 24-hour sun out there. But how that works over a flat earth is still a mystery to me. And I don't need to know everything, and I do realize the globe model accounts for that and everything, but the globe model doesn't account for a lot of other things, though. Like the fact that gravity's fake, for one thing. But like, my circles thought experiment is the best way to debunk the globe, in my opinion, because it's just, you put yourself in a logical, boots on the ground situation. If it was like a reality TV show, and I'm gonna task a certain selected group of people, random people around the earth, none of them flat earthers, they're all people that just never questioned it. They just all think the world's a globe, and they're not being informed about the the nature of this experiment that we're doing, this exercise, this reality show. They're just being told, okay, you're going to make money doing this, and so you're going to be asked to go out and do something in the real world, and it's going to be a simple task, and you're going to go about doing it as long as you want to make money. And so the money will be the incentive, and the tasks that I'm going to ask of these people, these random people, they don't know why they're doing it. They're just going to go do it, which is to proceed to make concentric circles on the face of the earth. And I'll pay you for every circle, and it's going to be like an increasing amount of money, because the circles get bigger. It's circles around circles. They get bigger and bigger. So you're going to be spending more time doing this the bigger the circles get, so you're going to be making more money. It's going to exponentially increase, so there's always going to be incentive to do the next circle, because it's going to be even more money you're going to make. However we price it, it's going to be like the incentive is to keep going, And it doesn't matter how many people we get on this, or what group of people that they're going to go about making concentric circles. The circles are going to get bigger and bigger. They're going to go about collecting all this money, and they'll be incentivized to do this forever, just indefinitely. And I guarantee you, at no point in time during this will anyone ever expect for those circles to do anything but get bigger and bigger indefinitely. In their minds, they'll have this whole thing envisioned as being like, we could keep doing this forever, and we'll just keep getting more and more money. Anybody participating in this would just, because they see what's happening. You're walking around the outside of the circle you made previously, so there's that much space between you and the circle that you just made before that. So you're adding all that space into this, because all the circles within circles are like, it's an expanding perimeter. You're never going to make the thought in your head where it's like, okay, this next circle is going to start getting smaller now, and then they're going to keep getting smaller, and you're never going to have that reality occur to you in your mind. You're never going to think, it's probably never going to happen, for one thing, but it's never going to occur to anybody doing this task that anything other than what's happening would happen. Like, the next circle is going to be bigger, and they just know that intuitively, and they would never question it. because they can see as they're going about doing it that it's obviously going to have to be bigger. It's like extrapolate. It's like if that's what it's like on a small scale, just extrapolate all the way out. It's how it's always going to be. You have no reason to doubt that. And my point for all this is that not a single person on Earth really believes the Earth is a globe. Because if they really truly believe the Earth is a globe, they would know that those circles can only get so big before they have to start shrinking. The biggest circle you can make on the globe Earth is at the median, 24,000, 25,000 miles in circumference. After that, the circles start shrinking. Like, you have to picture this, how it would be on a 3D surface. It's like on a sphere, the biggest circle you can make is at the median, the halfway point. So the biggest the biggest circumference you can draw on Earth is going to be halfway. You're going to be circling half the Earth. And so, yeah, I know the circles be pretty big at the point, but still, nobody would ever expect them to start shrinking because it doesn't make sense. It's not logically, it's not intuitive. Nobody would ever expect that to happen. And even knowing, in their minds, thinking that they know the Earth is a globe and everything, they're going to go about doing this boots on the ground thing. They're not thinking the reason they're doing this is to show that, that they don't think of the Earth as a globe, but they're just going about it, making money and doing this exercise, thinking that it's just all about the money or whatever. But what it's all about is that, like, nobody really believes Earth is a globe. Because if they really did, they would know that circles could only get so big and then they'd start shrinking. And then there wouldn't be much incentive to do it anymore. Maybe that could be part of it. It's like, as long as the circles keep getting bigger, you're going to keep getting, if you come back with a smaller circle, then then you don't get nothing. No, it's got to be some way I can factor in that part where it's like where they're going to make the wager that it's, of course the circles are only going to get bigger, Because that's what I think everybody believes would happen. Like when I ask Glovers about this, when I catch them off guard, I say, can you draw a smaller circle around the outside of another circle on the ground? If I draw a circle, can you draw a smaller circle around it? They say no, and then I walk them through the whole thing. I got Duffy to admit, like, he walked all the way into it with me. I'm like, so the circles just get bigger? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, so it doesn't matter what size of circle I draw, it's always going to be impossible to draw a smaller circle around the outside of it? And he said, yeah. And so the circles just get bigger all the way out. And he's all, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, well, welcome to flat Earth, And then he was all, what? And he started backpedaling. But I mean, I was satisfied with that. I was like, hey, well, you just showed to me that you think of the Earth in the same exact way that I do, and I'm a flat earther, so, at least we see eye to eye on something here. Of course, he wanted to try to explain his way out of it, but you can't. Like, you can't. You just admitted to me that you think of the Earth the same way I do. The circles just get bigger all the way out. I didn't necessarily debunk the globe. I just said that, like, what my point of this saying this is that, like, most people don't even really think of the Earth as being a globe. Because when you have to really think that one through, it's like, how are we going to make a smaller circle around the outside of another circle? Well, it's because they're going to be sideways or upside down at that point, but not really, but sort of, but, and now you're just circling the area that you haven't circled, and there's all these weird ways of explaining it, but, like, it's not what we would experience in reality. We don't have any reason to expect that. Now, if we'd seen the Earth as a globe from space, then maybe we might have a reason to expect it, but like, that's just the nature of living on what appears to be a flat plane, Like, that's what we would expect. That's what, and I'm pretty sure that's what would happen, because the Earth is flat. I mean, Jaron's reasoning, with, like, he's gonna go back to the globe because there's no way the flat Earth can explain what the sky is doing. And I get his point, I understand his logic, but the thing is, the globe has been debunked, so it's like, so we're just gonna have, basically, if the globe was reality, then it's magic, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not experiencing magic while I'm down here on the ground. I mean, when I look up in the sky, that's as close as being magic as I can. I mean, the sky is doing some incredible things. It's not like we can explain it fully because we're not up there. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what set all that in motion and how it's working. I mean, we just don't know. We can guess, but down here we know what's going on for the most part. You know, we have a lot more firm of a grip on what's happening down here. So if I'm going to have to apply magic to either the sky or the ground, whereas like, you know, if I, basically the globe for me, if the Earth is a globe, then it's a magic situation. It's like beyond explanation, because the way they've gone about explaining it has been debunked, like to my standards at least. But so if I'm gonna have to apply magic to one or the other, the sky or the ground, obviously I'm gonna go with the sky because that's the logical path here. But then, you know, the Globers, you know, the people of mainstream science, they want to say they know everything about the sky and the sun is this big and it's this far away and it's all this stuff is going on. But they don't have actual measurements. It's just like mathematics is all they got. And that, you know, mathematics can, well, you can deceive people with mathematics. Kinematics. All they got is kinematics. They got no dynamics. They can't really tell you for sure because they're down here just like you are. Ah, this fly's bugging me. Bad vibes, Duffy. Yeah. Yeah, Jaron, no one's gonna miss him. I mean, he wasn't that, like, he had become pretty irritating. Like, it's just apparent that the guy's not really, like, you know, he's not really all he's cracked up to be. Like, he's got some weird, sort of dark aura going on with him. And, like, he doesn't look at the screen anymore. He's, like, really sort of, like, maybe I don't either, I don't know. But he's all, like, hidden under his hat all the time. I just hope, yeah, he's mean-spirited. And, like, that's the thing. I hope I never become like that, you know. That's, like, the lesson for all of us. Is, like, don't be like that. He was all mad and everybody's talking shit, but it's like, dude, he started the shit talking. I mean, that can't fool me. I saw that all play out exactly how it did, and it's like he was the one that started calling everybody retarded. And then when he got the same, you know, people said the same thing about him in return, then he just got all butthurt. But that's just, you know, for anyone that was paying attention, I mean, that's just a pretty immature way of acting. And it's like, you know, you want me to take you seriously after that? You know, I mean, like, pretty much just shot yourself in the foot there, buddy. At this point, he looks like he's just some plant that was just like a big fake the whole time. Which is weird, because I think it's interesting how he's the one that pointed out that there was no video evidence of the 24-hour sun. Like, he's the one that brought that up to all our attention, you know, and it's like, I don't know, something about him and his research, like, and then his personality doesn't quite jive. Like, same with Witsit. It's like, these guys and their personality, you know, like, after you get to know what their personality is like, and you're like, how would that personality type have gone and done all this research? Like, it seems like they have so many hang-ups and weird little fucking childish isms about them where they would never have managed to have done all that thorough research to learn all the stuff that they know or whatever. And it's like, it almost seems to me more like they've been handed a script and, like, given a fucking assignments as to what to say, you know, because such immature personalities, I can't imagine them being so dedicated to researching things that are, like, serious, you know. They're involved in such petty, like, egoisms, and it's like, it's not, those two things don't jive, man. Like, a person who's passionate about doing research about reality and, like, diving into the nitty-gritty of it all, they've kind of left their ego behind insofar as, like, they're not, I wouldn't expect to see those same types of people squabbling over, like, whose dick is bigger, you know, and, like, fucking just such childish bullshit, you know. I mean, it doesn't jive. You follow my logic here? Is anybody even in here? I'm just talking to myself. If anybody's in here, thanks for listening. Christina, it's nice to have you here. I think I might go to Santa Cruz and play some music on the streets. I need to raise some money. The kid's birthday's coming up. I'm like fucking broke. I think I should go down to the boardwalk. Maybe I'll live stream from down there. That might be kind of cool. But I was thinking a cool idea is to put up a sign while I'm playing and say, follow me on YouTube, Dr. Bass Ackwards, and like say something about how I'm streaming live, so people could like look me up and then like watch the show from wherever they are. They could just continue watching because I'll be streaming it live. If I could somehow convey that in my sign so people could like subscribe and like watch me play as they go about whatever they're doing. They don't have to stand there if they were interested in doing so. Might be kind of fun. Trucking, to get my cheap gas in, I keep it trucking. I like to do down man together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on. Oh no. Arrows and neon and flashing my keys out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, and Detroit, and it's all on the same street. The typical city involving a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings. Ooh, Dallas, got a soft machine. Houston, too close to New Orleans. New York's got the ways and means, but just won't let you be. Whoa, no. Most of the cats that meet on the street we get true love. Most of the time they're sitting and grinding home. But one of these days they know they better get going. Out of the door and down on the street all alone. Trucking like the two-dog man once told me, you got to play your hand. Sometimes the cards ain't worth the dime if you don't lay them down. Oh no. Sometimes the lights all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately it occurred to me. What a long, long, strange trip it's been. Sitting and staring out of the hotel window. I got a tip, they're gonna kick the door in again. I'd like to get some sleep before I travel, but if you got a warrant, looks like you're gonna come in. Oh, busted down on Bourbon Street, sit up like a bowling pin. They're getting locked down against that wearing thing that just won't let you be. Oh no. Never became a sweet Jane. She lost her sparkle, she isn't the same. Living on reds, vitamin C, and cocaine. All the friends can say is ain't it a shame. Trucking up the Buffalo, I've been thinking, got to mellow slow. Take time, big place to go. Get back trucking home. Oh no. You're tired of traveling, you want to settle down. I guess I can't revoke your soul for trying. Get out of the door and lie out and look all around. Sometimes belong to get back home. Sit down and patch my bones and get back trucking home. Oh no, and I get back trucking home. Get back trucking on. Kind of a hard song to get all the way through. Please don't dominate the rap track if you got nothing new to say. If you please go right up the track, this train got to run today. I spent a little time on the mountain, I spent a little time on the hill. I saw things I don't understand, but I think in time I will. I don't know what I was told. In the heat of the sun, a man died of cold. Keep on running, don't stand and wait. The sun getting dark and the hour so late. One way or another, one way or another, oh, one way or another. This darkness got to give, it's got to give. Who can deny it's not just a change in style. Oh, one stepped on and another begun, and I wonder how many miles. Spent a little time on the mountain, spent some time on the hill. I saw things getting out of hand, but I guess they always will. I don't know what I was told, it's hard to run with the weight of gold. Other hand, I've heard it said it's just as hard with the weight of lead. Oh, one way or another, one way or another, one way or another. This darkness got to give, it's got to give. You can't overlook the blackjack of any other highway to ride. It's got no signs or dividing lines, a very few rules to guide. Spend a little time on the mountain, spend some time on the hill. I saw things, I heard some say you better run away, others say you better stand still. I don't know what I was told. The horse don't pull, you got to carry the load. I don't know whose back's that strong, maybe find out before too long. Oh, one way or another, one way or another, one way or another. This darkness got to give, it's got to give. One way or another, one way or another, one day or another. This darkness got to dying. Oh well, it always happens. Hey Sue, are you in there? Someone said hi to Sue. Justine, you see Sue? I don't see Sue. Sue, see, I don't see you. I wish I was out on Rocky Top, out in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoking smog on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bill. Once I had a girl on Rocky Top, half bear, the other half cat. She was wild as a mink, but sweet as soda pop. I still dream about that. Rocky Top will always be home, sweet home to me. Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Woo. Looking for a moonshine still. They never came back down from Rocky Top. I reckon they never will. The corn don't grow at all on Rocky Top. Dirt's too rocky by far. That's why all them folks on Rocky Top get their corn from a jar. Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Like a duck in a pen. All I know is it's a pity life can't be simple again. Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. There's Sue. Hi, Sue. I see you now. Figured if I played that song, I'd be able to see you. I see you, Sue. I think it's a bong hit break right about now. So funny that fucking Harmon was busting Saab's balls. Like, Harmon and Saab have some issues sometimes. Dave, whatever, from Sovereign Soul and Chain Mind. I think it was last night he was doing a show and he was like, Sovereign Soul is trying to get Harmon to understand his perspective, which is like, when I look at the sky, I'm looking at the firmament. And he's just like, he wasn't like, it wasn't tracking. And And he's like, he's all, settle down, Herman. You're just so worked up, just settle down. He's all, oh, I'm sorry, I don't sit around smoking pot all day. So, and he's like kind of taking a jab at Sovereign Soul and Chain Mind Dave. He's just like, oh, I don't smoking pot all day. I'm kind of a little more, I'm more fast or whatever. And Dave was like, well, maybe you should smoke some pot. Maybe you need to. I thought it was funny. Slowing down ain't a bad idea. I don't know if I should do this on camera. I might get slapped on the wrist by fucking YouTube. They're like, you're doing drugs on camera. I'm like, so? There's a lot more crazy shit going on YouTube than me taking a bong hit, I'll tell you that much. It's amazing the shit that they fucking censored me for over the years. I mean, compared to the shit that's being shown on YouTube, gonna worry about my ass. And the least of their worries. I should try to get my old, here's the thing I was frustrated about it. I wanted to try to get my old channel back because everybody's getting their channels back, And so I would go to the email that the channel was, the account, I mean, I've gotten several channels deleted, but one of my bigger ones, I was trying to get it. So I go to the email and I was looking for the YouTube, email where they said they deleted my channel, and I found it. And it says appeal here, And so I try to appeal it, and then it's like, well, provide the URL for the YouTube channel that's in question or whatever. I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? It's been deleted. So it's like a catch-22. I was like, how are these people getting their channels back? I mean, what part of that? I mean, how does that make any fucking sense? How am I going to get the URL for something that's gone? I mean, how am I supposed to know that? That's their job. They still have it somewhere. I know they're giving people channels back after years of being deleted, and so they still have the data there. It's like, why am I supposed to tell them what it is? How am I supposed to tell them what it is a better idea. I mean, were you supposed to write down the URL of your channels in case they get deleted or something? Is that what I didn't do right? Because this is crazy. I mean, it's like, how am I supposed to get that? I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, I have no way of finding it. Maybe if I go back to some previous emails, that might be one way of doing it. And there's the old thinking cap. Oh, you're welcome. Rocky, I tried. I mean, it's not that easy of a song to play. I always fuck up the chorus. My pomegranates look like they're ripe. I should start harvesting them. I grew like 100 pomegranates this year. I've got so many. Every year it's been like exponentially increasing. It was like I've had this tree for like 5 years maybe. The first year it grew like 2 or 3. Second year is like, 20. And last year it was like, I think I've had it for like 4 years, and it's been growing pomegranates for 4 years. Last year we got maybe close to 50, and now this year there's like probably over 100. It's like every part of the tree is just loaded with pomegranates. It's such a healthy tree. So cool. It's more like a bush, really. They do turn into trees, though. I've seen them. Want to see my tree? My tree bush? Those pomegranates down there look pretty ripe. When they get red like that, usually I wait for them to crack. Once they've cracked, then they're ripe. They're so good. I love pomegranates. The pomegranates and the prickly pears from our cactus over there. You can't see it from here, but we consumed all of that last year. My girlfriend was putting the prickly pear, and we got all the jelly out of it. It's like this neon pink jelly. It's really cool, and like we froze it and we're using it in our smoothies. It's really sweet. It's good. Prickly pear jelly is fucking good. Actually, it's trippy at first when you're like eating cactus fruit, but it's quite yummy, and I was surprised. It'd be good with like peanut butter and jelly. It's totally yummy. I don't know why they don't have more of that product available to the public. It's really good, and it grows wild all over the place. I mean, certain times of year you go drive by certain areas with this prickly pear cactus, and you just see fucking hundreds of those fruits just sitting there going to waste. Nobody thinks to eat them, but they're good. You got to get all the pokies off of them. We figured out how to do that because my girlfriend was burning them off with a lighter. But it was getting messy and it was kind of hard, and it's like she was hurting herself, and the lighter was getting all hot. So I thought, I got my propane torch out and set it really low, and she just held it it cooks them right off. We figured out a super easy way of doing it. So she went through all the prickly pears, got all the pokies out, and did the whole process of getting the jelly out of them. It's really cool looking fruit. It's like bright. It's a dark, it's a neon color, but it's really deep. It's super rich, like pink, burgundy-ish color. It's really pretty. My favorite color is pink, like neon pink. Basically, my favorite color is neon. Anything neon. I like neon blue and neon pink the best, though. I love you too, baby. Oh, I gotta plug in my phone. What's up, man? How you doing, Yeshua Savior? Nice to see you. My beard is getting pretty shaggy, isn't it? I've been meaning to like trim it and shape it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm so busy, you know. Not. It's just not that important to me, I guess. Oh, I left my book out there. Dang it. I've been writing some pretty funny stuff lately. I think it's all in my book outside, though. All right, maybe. Whilst in space. Whilst in space. Corporate core pirates, cooperative, credence, decay, decadence on full display, smacked flat, restrained, and redacted, held under the microscope, groped for dope and broke into, robbed, blind, and left deaf and dumbfounded. The grim grabblers grimace and high five each other's grimy hands. Ran down in lockstep, streamlined, chalked up, mopped up, cleaned out, mopped up clean, doubted, rerouted, run rough, shot on, drained the main vein on like another pawn in their game. That's my favorite part. Chalked up, mopped up clean, doubted, rerouted, run rough, shot on, drained the main vein on like another pawn in their game. That's pretty good, man. I'm fucking run down in lockstep, streamlined, chalked up, mopped up clean, doubted, rerouted, run rough, shot on, drained the main vein on like another pawn in their game. Now, right there, that's a mouthful. This close to the real thing is an empty effort made in vain, a fruitless endeavor that will never be better than what we wish it was. Tall tales and random distractions fail to cover up what is clearly lacking. Cheap fakes and underhanded scams will not stand the test of time. A tangled web of lies wound up around half-truths, deliberately misconstrued interpretations unravel and collapse upon closer inspection. In spite of all the trickery, ill will, and malfeasance, obfuscation, and downright treason, people have not lost hope. People have not lost hope, nor have they been sufficiently duped. Nope, because the truth cannot be removed. Logic and reason are the bedrock below the surface level bedlam. No matter how much lowbrow, low-cow garbage you fed them, goodness waits at the pearly gates. Evil does as evil will. The truth might hurt sometimes, but lies can kill. Okay, that's all I got to say. Bye. I'll try to fill a full page. You know, I was like a full page right to the very end. Some of this shit's pretty random. I gotta write a song with the lyrics. The lame duck named Donald. We got a lame duck named Donald. The lame duck named Donald. I think these are all like ideas for band names or something. It's all short phrases. The Three Blind Dykes. Floppy disk breaks. I like that. Floppy disk breaks. Waterlogged floodgates. Deep state mints. Cubic rubies. Compartmentally retarded. Retrograded report cards. Don't preach till you master what you practice. That's a good slogan. is a good slogan. All the good stuff is in my book outside. I had to Baghdad before a Bombay, and Iran, India on the way, and you were Russian out the door 'cause European on the floor. I had to Baghdad before a Bombay, and Iran, India on the way, and you were Russian out the door 'cause European on the floor. Tomorrow is an idea. Today is a reality. Yesterday is an afterthought. Time travel is very possible. In fact, it's all that we know how to do, traveling into the future 1 second at a time. No faster, no slower. Join me as I run against the grain until the friction begins to burn and catch a flame. That sounds like a great idea. I've been running against the grain ever since the day I came along. I claim the grain is running the wrong way. I think I've read all this stuff here. Wild cards become docile when a dealer goes unchecked with a loaded deck. Never conspire with a live wire or a loose cannon. You'll end up shipwrecked, accused of treason. Those who abandon reason receive a ration of scrutiny garnished with mutiny. Reset back to square one, the familiar drawing board. Oh, I like this part right here. Stripped of dignity in the outskirts. That is a good one right there. Stripped of dignity in the outskirts. Because the word outskirts, it's like it's like having your skirt removed, you know. Stripped of dignity in the outskirts. You've been outskirted. Don't take my skirt off. Grappling with hooks in the hanger. Grappling with hooks in the hanger. I read my shit like I'm reading somebody else's shit sometimes. I don't even remember writing out this shit. One-eyed jacks and suicidal kings and a homicidal queen of hearts. That's how the game begins. That's how it all starts. With the homicidal queen of hearts. Playing with the homicidal queen of hearts. They're what really fucking smarts. The Joker is the only fool who do anything with you. What a cute little song. Playing with the queen of hearts. The Joker is the only fool. What was it again? Run rough, shot on. Drain the main vein on like another peon pawn in their game. What was it? Doubt it. No, it was chalked up, mopped up, clean. Doubted, rewouted. No. Chalked up, mopped up, clean. Doubted, rerouted, rerun. No, doubted, rerouted, run rough, shot on, and drain. No, doubted, rerouted, run rough, shot on, drain main vein, and drain the main vein on like another peon pawn in their game. That's it. I've been chalked up, mopped up, clean, doubted, rerouted, run rough, shot on, drain the main vein on like another peon pawn in their game. I bet nobody has put those words together before me. Playing with the queen of hearts. What's up, RG? Dude, your content has been just crushing it lately, bro. I know it's difficult for you to sit there and fucking read all that shit for so long. I mean, I'm just impressed. I wouldn't be able to do that. And you're in kind of a different disposition than me, and you just have a lot of patience, and I admire what you've been doing, man. I wish you could. I mean, I don't know how many views you get, but I wish more people could see what you're getting at here, because you're basically uncovering, like, you know, what the thing that everybody should be the most concerned about right now, really, as far as like what's happening in the world, is this thing called biodigital convergence. I mean, I don't know what umbrella you would put that under, if that is the umbrella, like the overarching theme of like all technology, the direction everything's headed. Um, I guess you could say, transhumanism. It's the same fucking difference. The biodigital convergence, and to the extent this has been, I mean, the level of research that has gone into this, I mean, it's truly mind crippling. It just blows me away. I mean, we're talking like you were talking about people's biofields, which would otherwise be called your aura, and it's how it's been studied, and how other animals, just everything that's living, it's an electrical, it would put off like energy. It's like the biofield, and the way the biofield actually functions. There's like they can, I don't know what kind of what kind of gear they're using to be able to witness this, but I imagine there's ways of doing so. I mean, with like there's certain types of gear you can use where it's like infrared cameras, or where you can take pictures of things that you wouldn't be able to see with your eyes normally. It's like heat sensitive or whatever. I'd imagine they're doing something like that where they got some imagery of what a biofield, how it's functioning, and they've studied it so far as like they can see like the path of like these ionized particles, and it's like this plasma field, and it's like the way it's all exchanging information. Like they've gone so far as to like say that like we're accessing information in this biofield that's around us. It's coming and going, and it's like it's not like all our whole experience, our soul, our life, it's like it seems like it's all present within our physical body, but like we're accessing other information, unbeknownst to us necessarily, like through our biofield, and there's like an exchange going on with, that's why when you're with other people, you feed off people's energy, and I mean, this is all energy exchange, I mean, that's what we're doing right here. But like when you're in the presence of somebody's, there's been people I've been in the presence before where I wasn't happy with, where I did not feel good in their biofield, was putting off some bad shit, and it's heavy, it's like intense, where it's like it left an impression on me and startled me. And I've taken a lot of psychedelics, and like the thing is with psychedelics, it's like it's not like, I mean, anybody that's taken psychedelics knows this, but it's like, it's not like you can just discount it as being like your brain short circuiting, or you're just like, you took some poison and so it's like affecting your, you're seeing things that aren't there or whatever, and it's like just going crazy or whatever. But that's not what's happening. It's like when you when you finally experience it, you realize it's like, this is a whole different thing that I was not ready for. Like it alters your senses, and like you have this thing. It's like a synthesis of your senses, sensual synthesis, whatever. It's like it all kind of melds together, and in such a profound way. And